GamerLegion's AWPing situation has been a bit strange for a very long time now. It's actually been strange to follow because ever since the move from AWPer to Slend, roughly, we've been seeing inconsistency. I mean, it was always a part of the deal, even back when it was AWPer on the side and, you know, they were able to get great results at the end of CSGO, but coming to CS2, things kind of fell off. You know, they've really struggled for stability and for performance at the AWPing role. Most recently, Kersey has been removed and Hypex has been added. So far at Pro League, things are going forgettably. On the average, he's a 0.99 rated player, 0.59 KPR, 0.59 DPR. Like, he's not really moving the needle so far. Just kind of slotting into the same sort of role, following the same trends that the past two AWPers really got stuck in. Slend struggled to really be explosive, be a star AWPer. Kersey, when he came in, also really had those sorts of struggles where it was nothing of great impact, nothing of great value. The win condition didn't change over to him really ever. The win condition on that GamerLegion side was PR. It was Res. Hell, it was Towson before it was Kersey. And they were struggling. They simply weren't winning enough games. This is why the move has happened. They've tried to inject a little bit of something in with Hypex to try and hopefully change the way they look, change the way they play. What problems you have to solve when you're facing this GamerLegion side. So far, yeah, I don't really think much has changed, but we're going to take a look at Hypex's best map so far at Pro League on Ancient against Bait to see what he does well and how he can impact a game if things go right. And we're going to try and assess, you know, how much we expect this to last, if we can maintain this sort of production, this sort of output in the future on this team. They are qualified for Stage 2 of Pro League, so we will be talking more about them in the coming days, in the coming weeks. Yet to see if the win con has truly shifted, yet to see if it truly can. But we're going to try and address some of those problems. Let's get straight into the demo. Hypex on Ancient versus Bait. We're starting off on a pistol round. And so far at Pro League, yeah, firepower rating of 13 speaks volumes. It's not been a smooth transition. We can maybe talk about in the sort of minutes to come about why is it GamerLegion AWPers just can't seem to get it right. Now, is it recruitment problems? Could they just not be having the right players? You know, they did try for the likes of Molodoy and Grix, just weren't able to get them. Those guys who were in Tier 2 dropping huge ratings. Oh, on the exec now. Oh, lovely double kill. Yeah, the first guy, fully blind, not the hardest shot to land. Pre-aim on the second was very tidy. But the caliber of AWP they've been going for, you know, the ones they wanted to sign, they haven't landed. You know, they haven't actually picked up the players they wanted. If you told me GamerLegion, you know, thought the right player for the job for them was Molodoy, and then they had to try and do the same thing with Hypex, with Kersey, I'd have been a bit worried about how it'll pan out. And so far, yeah, those kinds of fears, those kinds of concerns have been realized. Hypex himself on Beklik was not a terrible player. A pretty solid Tier 2 AWPer. Played about, I'd say, roughly a year on that side. About a 114 rating, which is the sort of thing where you look at it, and if you're assessing prospects, you're assessing talents. A player who's a 114 rated AWPer doesn't mean a lot. It doesn't mean a lot. If you watch the POVs, you'll get a better idea, but just on a stat sheet reading that, you can't tell much. If an AWPer at Tier 1, playing in the biggest events against great AWPers and great riflers, is giving you a 114, you know, say like a Torji usually does about every year, he roughly gives you a 114. Yeah, you could expect that to be a star level AWPer. That is outright a star. But in Tier 2, you don't know how that's going to translate when that player gets promoted. Best case scenario, maintains his numbers, maybe even slightly increases them. You know, increases that output just when he gets better setup, better teammates. Because not all 114s are built the same. The concern you might have with a Hypex is that it's just not a high fragging kind of rating that he's got. He's just fragging in the right moments. You know, he's got a lot of clutch stats. He's alive, lasers in the round a lot, trading out, closing. Hard to do that well at the next level, just outright, and carry your stats through it. Still impossible. Fingers crossed he shows us a lot of that closing, a lot of that trading. That's what really stood out on Beclick. That was his role. I hope to see more of it. For now, still on the rifles, though. I guess, you know, I don't mind not seeing it on the AWP just yet. It is the meta. Round 3 is where we're at right now. We see Hypex throwing util. Oof. It is just a part of the job. He is an AWPer. In those early rounds, early in the round as well, specifically. Having util out is to be expected. But yeah, you see the points of attack that GamerLegion likes to use. PR's on a mid lurk. He's going to be on mid fighter. ZTR, Towson, Rez, really fighting for these kinds of bits of control. And then Hypex just back here chucking util early on in the round. I expect that to maintain. GamerLegion have been, you know, up and down this season, or this year rather. They've had some really good results. They've had some terrible results. The win condition for this side, time and time again, you see him lurking in mid right now. This guy. PR. The most impactful player on this team's success, really. It's him, then it's Rez, then it's Towson. He and Rez are the ones set up most for it. Towson can just find his moments, his spots. That's a nice kill to find. Just plucking off a rotator. 2v2. Tap. Does die. Good trade. And he wins the 1v1 with the spam. MPL giving his position away. Questionable decision, but Hypex punishes it. That's a good clutch. That's the kind of thing we're hoping to see. That's the kind of play that made him effective on Beclick. Not necessarily that active early. You know, not finding a whole host of openers. But clutching out, trading out. Doing the dirty deed late in the round. Into the smoke. Flashbang. For the mid-fight. And off we rotate. It's fascinating, because when you watch the way Hypex plays, you watch the way Kersey plays on GamerLegion, you do sometimes wonder how much of it is informed by the player and how much of it is informed by the coach. Bait have a great example of that question as well in Kensizor, but GamerLegion, you know, the AWPer plays a very passive role, plays a very supportive role, essentially on the T side. Sure, he gets the opportunity to close late, he gets the opportunity to trade out very late in the round, but ooh, just able to get one. But early on, in terms of game-winning impact, it seems quite tough for them to get involved in the way the game is built. Ooh, here, Hero AK for Hypex. The only player with money. And then we got PR with armor to pick it up, should he go down. So finally, a chance to prove his worth earlier than expected. Not just being used as a nade dispenser, instead actually getting to take some duels. Clearing some space. MPL spotted. Oof. Ugly on the AK, trying to get that kill. Another great round there. His first event, though, with this GamerLegion side. Maybe some nerves coming in. This is one of his best maps with them. I think this is his best map of this event. It's one of his best maps just generally. Like the result, 176 rating, really strong. We've already seen a part of why. That clutch early. Spam doesn't quite land, but Rez does get two. PR found a killer, I believe, in mid. And Hypex now left in a 1v2 again. Yeah, the last 1v2 was more of a traded 1v2 into a 1v1. This time, legit 1v2. NPL and Headtrick left to take down. Something that's been bugging me, that I've talked about on shows and that I checked the stats for, and still hasn't been addressed by Bait, is Kensizor's opening attempt rate, on the T side especially, is absurd. And he takes so many deaths on it too. Okay, that was... I see what he's tried to do there. And he's made one of two assumptions. Or maybe both. The NPL was close by, because why the hell would Headtrick do that if he wasn't close by? Or that Headtrick's death cam would spot him running. I think he left it a bit late to be relying on the death cam, though. So either it's a blunder, or that's not the assumption he made. More likely assumed NPL was close, although the pacing on this may lead NPL to rotate. Let's see. NPL instead choosing to go into cave. A smart option. It is still close to the bomb site. You'll hear all the info. You'll be able to get in really quickly. But also easier to rotate. There's the noise. Bomb being planted. He's wary of the flank. Is he wary of cave, though? He is. Oh, just about gets it done. NPL 55 HP. Does help. Just needs to land 2 body shots. Whew. I mean, the rifle is far from the most dangerous tool in his arsenal so far, from what I can see. But the awareness, the read, situational awareness seems there. Really nice clutch. You know, doesn't get locked into his first assumptions. Is aware that NPL could have just missed the timing, found a gap in his eye line, in his eyesight rather, in what he was watching, and got himself into cave. Could have also rotated into cave from mid at some point. There's a number of different ways it could have happened. Good awareness. Lovely 1v2. That's how he's going to find impact. Okay, boost up. Nothing spotted. PR traded out in middle. PR traded out in middle. He had a Mac 10. A Mac 10 still goes 1 for 1. Oh, that's a missed shot from Headtrick. That's an AWP to be recovered. Can't get any frags. Are we going to even save this AWP? No, we're not. Okay. Has he been AWPing on the T side at all? 31% of his kills on T side are with an AWP. Overall at this event. Yeah, switching from the AK to the M4A1. To be fair, I don't blame him. His AK has looked shaky. Despite the success, the AK has looked shaky. Unsurprisingly, his clutching rating on T side for GamerLegion at this event, 99. Just those 2 clutches by themselves. Huge for the clutch points per round. Okay, a full 20 bullet spray. Landed none of it. But fully blind, to be fair. PR catches MPL. As always, chiming in. We're waiting for the rest of this CT side to aggress Alex and Headtrick, but it seems they're going to be saving. So yeah, GamerLegion, since the reintroduction of Overpass, have been playing it. And I think they're doing a fairly good job of playing it. They did lose it pretty shockingly to... no, they didn't lose it. That's right, yeah. They almost lost it to Inner Circle, that Overpass game. And they lost it to a T-side comeback from Inner Circle, during which Hypex just struggled. Now, Hypex struggled in the entire series against Inner Circle, and to be fair, Inner Circle is just a really awkward team to play against. Especially if you're an AWPer. If you have the AWP out, they are going to run over you. They play with pace. You have to be able to dodge their util. You have to be able to find your shots and hit them really quickly. A lot of AWPers are going to struggle against Inner Circle. Not the biggest shock. He wasn't able to get it done there. But against Astralis on Nuke, They got a clean 13-0. Remember, Astralis struggling on their map picks right now. Where Hypex himself goes 11-1, just very clean. You know, no dirt on his pads, no dirt on his jersey, you know, type of game. Just did some cardio, made a few good passes. Didn't do anything special, but got it done. This Ancient really is the only map I can recall him having true impact on the game. A little earlier on, sorry, I did touch on Kensizor's playstyle on this bait team. And his T-side aggressions. He takes an opening duel around 44% of time. So 44% of their T-side rounds end with Kensizor dead or alive. Sorry, start with Kensizor dead or getting a kill. 44%. For reference, at Pro League, there's only one player I think even vaguely close. But across the last 3 months, the second highest player is at 38%. There's a 6% gap between number 1 and number 2. And then there's like a 1% gap from number 2 and number 3. So he's an outlier. He's about 6% higher than even the most aggressive players on average are. Like Xertion's around the 37 or 36% mark. It's 8% higher than that. Ooh, that's a tidy shot. Much better. Don't tell me he wins a 1v3 as well. I traded 1v2 really, but yeah. Yeah, bait worried about mid. But Hetrick, he might be on the line by the time Hypex gets here. Oh, he sees the elbow. Ooh, that's a winnable fight, but yeah, tough one to win. Here's the AWP, finally. Been asking for this for a while. So much rifling. And the worst part is about the Kensizor situation. His opening attempt, like, win rate is like 38%. It's not even productive. It's not successful. It's not the best idea, really, to be going for this. But they do. They are really insistent, bait, on Kensizor taking T-side openers. And it's just not working. This isn't to say that I think Kensizor can't win opening duels, that he doesn't have the skill for it, doesn't have the ability for it. He does. I just think they're doing a pretty poor job of setting him up for them. Okay, AWP contact clear. Ooh, doesn't land the shot onto head trick. Was it hittable? Yes. Ooh. Just playing off the shoulder of his guys, looking for the contact. But MPL Senthiel have opened up this round already with 2 kills, untraded. Oh, that's a nice kill. Quick reaction shot onto Hetrick, peeking. Oh, elbow spotted. Panic shot, switch to a different AWP. For good luck, I guess. Still looking, but yeah, not finding anyone. Throws a shot out, but yeah, we're going to try and save this one. Not allowed. So 1 round with the AWP, 1 kill with the AWP. But a miss that, yeah, I thought was hittable on the top mid peak. As always, we skip the ecos. Don't want to see it. What the fuck happened? What the fuck happened? I was about to make some silly comment about if I wanted to see Glock play, I'd move to Chicago, but head trick is just ass. Okay. What the hell? They lose the round in the end, but my god, that should not have been that close. Ooh, a little better. Yeah, sometimes the crosshair placement looks pretty tidy, and then other times he uses the AK like he's never seen one in his life. So we saw that an interesting sort of... Oh. I just skipped the entirety of pistol by accident. Okay, there we go. So one of the interesting quirks of rating 3.0... So, I'm going to put up the numbers just so I'm exact on what I'm saying. On the Ancient T-Half, Hypex went 15 and 8, with plus 18% round swing at a 2.72 rating. And we understand why, when we understand what is valued by rating 3.0. Clutches, going to be huge, especially 1v2s. Look, you're supposed to win a 1v2 at about a 30% rate, I think, or maybe slightly less. So winning the 1v2 is a huge amount of round swing. So those clutches are going to have massive impact on round swing. The Glock kills are going to be wildly impactful in terms of the economic factors that are taken into consideration in rating 3.0. You know, the opposite of eco-fragging is fragging on an eco. And that's what he did. If I saw correctly, I think Towson goes absolutely ballistic here. No offense to Hypex, but if he's not going to do anything, I'm going to watch something else. Oh, Hypex is just diffusing. Nice. Good shooting on the Cowboy Berettas. From Towson. One of the unexpected heroes of this GamerLegion side, I'm going to be honest. The signing of Towson and the level he's shown since being added to the team is what convinced me that Ash can do no wrong as far as GMing. You know, making the right moves. He proved me so wrong about a player that I thought was so forgettable, but has proved invaluable to this team. You know, he plays his spots smartly. It's rarely a stupid death, like, if ever. There are times where he takes impossible fights. You know, those sorts of hard entry paths, and lands them when you just don't expect it. Ooh, speaking of making plays, etc., Towson. Great triple spray. Hypex plucked one off at the back of the mid-push. Solid shutdown of the force buy. But yeah, I always said it's like, if he makes Towson look so perfect for the team and so effective, so incredible, surely Ash knows what he's doing when he signs Kersey. Because that's what my read on Towson was, forgettable, you know? Just another Danish rifler. Not even a particularly flashy one, not a particularly impactful one, you know. In terms of pre-signing, where I rated these sorts of Danish riflers, I had him below the likes of Newt. You know, I was a Pingu believer, more than I was a Towson believer. I had him below Anlele, even. Anlele was more interesting to me. I had him below Syra. I probably wouldn't have had him above Ultex, even though Ultex had some rough times. Towson just hadn't stood out to me like that. And then I saw him playing in Ash's GamerLegion. I was like, oh, never mind, I get it. The guy just does stuff that makes sense and is effective. So I can't help but notice ZTR hasn't got a kill. Even as they farm ecos, ZTR still doesn't have a kill. They go on to win this map really comfortably. Like, you know, it's not a particularly close game. ZTR gets one kill. Okay, let's look at this setup in mid. Hypex is the one run boosting res. I think it's full flashed, blind spamming. he's kind of the bait in this setup. Rez gets to be thrown up here, and probably gets to play anti a little bit. Yeah, he does. Because he's... More importantly, because he's swinging lane, he's anti from the mid flashes. And then we have PR playing up close, gets to play anti as well. Gets to be too up close. Well, he's so up close that the flashes don't really hit him. Lovely control on his spray. Hypex goes down, dies for a worthy cause though, traded out. All things considered, a pretty solid round. Here comes the AWP. This is where I get curious, because when there's a 3-man rifling setup in mid, I expect him to kind of play like that. What's he going to do now with the AWP in his hand? Going for a smoke pop peek. ZTR dies again. He's had his kill though. Okay. Hypex set up on this angle, in case you didn't know why he did that clear. You'll see it a lot by an AWPer who comes in mid to late round on something that's not been held, especially this position. He has to do this, because otherwise this player can sneak out a bit and catch a glimpse of his elbow and just start shooting him without him realizing. Or without him being able to land a clean trade, basically, or a clean shot in the other direction. So he just clears that cornage to make sure he can't get picked off for free. Then he goes back to holding the standard angle. Unfortunately, Beta have just won this round, so nothing for Hypex to do, just sits in his corner and saves. Now, we've still got full rifles, still got full util. Not expecting anything crazy. I talked about this in my Klim video, if you've seen it. You know, when the AWP is saved and there's not much else going on, the AWPer kind of has to do more. He has to be doing the most, as it were. And this is not that scenario, basically. So he doesn't have to do anything extravagant. Just play the game that they need him to play. Sat on an island on A, waiting for a pick. Doesn't land his one attempt at a shot. Not the end of the world. A fascinating piece of analysis, or analysis tool you could have. When we talked about that death on the rifle that he had earlier, where he's in mid, he's just run boosted someone. He's the one guy who can't, you know, dodge the mid flashes. Would a learning model or some kind of program be able to figure that out? You know, if we taught it CS and how CS is played, would it understand that Hypex, whilst he did take a death, couldn't have done anything better? You know, short of run boosting, playing anti, which is just not something you can do. You can't run boost, have a rifler set up to play anti-flash, and then you also play anti-flash in that scenario. Oh, that's a bad miss. He doesn't even know how bad of a miss it is, because of the players who've managed to lurk around him. See, if he picks one off and then dies, this round isn't immediately lost, but this round is immediately lost. It's a shame. We haven't seen a whole lot out of the AWP. Back to the 3-man mid setup. Kenzie's all traded out. There he is with one of his many opening attempts. You get PR landing all the shots. PR 19 and 14. Just putting up numbers. Hypex falling off after his very productive first half. Second half, barely been in the game. He gets 15 of his 17 kills on that T-half. Just for reference. Which for an AWPer seems wild. You know, my AWP top rated in the map. Basically AFK on CT half. The half where we give him the AWP. This is a better setup, though, for him. He's going to be playing contact for PR. Ideally as well, with PR's health. Okay, the two-man setup doesn't get challenged, but let's do some talking here. If he's playing up in here, and he's jiggling for contact, you know, just back and forth. If he gets contact from main, from this angle here, and doesn't die, PR should stay hidden. So if PR swings trying to clear this angle, this player easily kills him. There's no need to rush the swing out. And here, well, actually, they get the complete wrong read. PR swings out and dies. Damn. Damn, I'm not sure what the call was. I think, was Ascenthial throwing a fake or something? Yes, he was. Okay, that makes sense. Really smart bit of Counter-Strike from Bait. Throwing this fake, then looking for the A contact. Completely catches this GamerLegion rotation out. And they clean it up perfectly. Oh, wow. Something a little cheeky now. Hypex. Looking for an A main contact. But yeah, just for future reference. The point where I'd want this player to swing, if you've got a jiggler here, is essentially when he's no longer allowed to jiggle. You know, if a molly comes out, they start throwing util, then take a peek. Even then it might be a bit too late, but you basically have to force the issue as late as possible. Oh, nice pre-aim. You see, some of the pre-aims have been really tidy. Hypex not a terrible player. He's just not had a particularly impressive showing here. Despite being so highly rated, despite the clutching, and like his situational awareness. When he's in those late round closing moments, the awareness is there. The understanding of the situation, the timing, it's there. It's just some of the mechanics, like the adjustments, have not been that good. And when I'm comparing him to players that the kind of player I watch, time and time again, the kind of player I love in terms of tier 2 AWPer, and he's promoting, the Gricks of the world, the Molodoys of the world, the Klims of the world. Those are the places they shine. Not only do they have good pre-aims, decent awareness, they can make the adjustment and hit the shot over and over again. We've seen how well it translates with Molodoy, who's now just one of the top 5 AWPers in the world, maybe, like 5th, I guess, is where I'd put him. That's not exactly a wild statement, I think. Grix, we didn't see it because he never really got the chance, but I believe in it entirely. Klim will be that guy as well. I think the battle for top 5 AWPer in the world will get more intense in the next year or two. Shiro's not going anywhere. Torshi's not going anywhere. Zaiwu's still Zaiwu. I mean, if Klim gets that promotion, plays in tier 1 next year, he will be a similar kind of profile of AWPer to Zaiwu in terms of the rifle usage and the style of play. Oh, gotta deny this bomb. Don't quite get it. Don't get the kill either. PR in a 1v1. Taps the bomb. Throws a flashbang of his own. Oh, he's just sticking this. Completely outclassed. Ascenthial, sit down. I think there we've seen... Yeah. Maybe an example where 3.0 isn't perfect. Because Hypex got a lot of impact in very limited rounds. But overall, when you watch the POV, clearly not the best player on that GamerLegion side. PR, again, proving himself to be still a real contender for Rookie of the Year. Just through stuff like this game, like just round after round, no matter the situation, no matter the context, PR puts up numbers. Hypex, I'm not sold. I'm really not sold yet. This is, yeah, not looking great. I want it to work. I want it to be better than I expect it to be. Like, I want him in Stage 2 to absolutely dominate. But if you look at Stage 1, the numbers for this GamerLegion side, the way they won. Play NRG, NRG. I'm not even going to bother talking about who played well against NRG. They lose a 3-map to Inner Circle, where they win in overtime and get smashed, map 1 and 2. A 1.3 rated PR, no one else even close. They beat Astralis 2-zip, stomp them. We've got Towson topping the board. ZTR not far behind him. Well, pretty far behind him alongside Hypex. Rez also very impactful. Against Bait, Towson, PR. These guys are standing up and making themselves noticed. For the event so far, yeah, as I said, Hypex, this is his first event with GamerLegion. He's a 0.99. I'm just worried that this is again going to be an AWPer coming up short for GamerLegion, who, to be honest, let's put it this way. They have the pieces and the, essentially, the macro strategy in terms of how to set up these pieces to win games and be a top 15 to top 10 team in the world. The way they use Rez, Towson, PR, the way those guys are able to deliver really high impact like rounds time and time again, shows that they have a lot of the things that they need to be a top team. The AWPer's just been the big question for a long time. I don't know if this is it. I really don't. Leave your thoughts in the comments on Hypex. If you like him, if you rate him, if you don't, sub for more content. Remember, the members get access to a bunch of bonus content, and it is the best way to support the channel. But yeah, we'll see you next time. Goodbye.